What is going on, everyone? It is Kylie here from Speed Bets, bringing you guys another UFC full fight breakdown. Now, I just recorded this entire video and then my audio wasn't on from my microphone. So I just burned about an hour and a half of my time recording this, so I'm a little bit annoyed, but that's alright. We're going to fire through this. I'm going to go a little bit quicker than normal. I literally say that every single video. I always say it's going to be less and less and less, and it's not because I have a yapping problem. But I'm a little bit pissed off right now and I got to get this video out, so we're going to fire away. Make sure you join the Discord, top link in the description. We're trying to get more people in there. We're talking fights. We're talking all kinds of sports. We're doing bets for all kinds of sports, football, hockey, basketball, everything you can imagine and more. Join the Discord, man. It's free. Why not? If you don't like it, you can leave. I'm not going to look at you any different. First fight up, we have the return of Hamdi Abdelwahab taking on Jamal Pogues. Now, Hamdi, this guy's been off for 2 years. That USADA suspension, they got my boy, but he's back. This is back when I was a little bit more of like a casual fan. I wasn't really too into it, too hardcore of a fan. I wasn't really betting on anything. I was watching the fights with one of my buddies. We saw a guy named Hamdi going against a guy named Don Tail. We were like, shit, this is going to be fight of the night. And it was the sloppiest slugfest you've ever seen. And Hamdi came out on top. He came out on top through the rustling. When this guy steps forward, he's moving. He's throwing with ill intentions. He doesn't care. Hamdi is a scrapper. He's a brawler. He's going to do whatever it takes. Jamal Pogue's more of a technician. I know it's kind of hard to believe this guy's a technician. Look at his build, but he is. He's going to be trying to point fight from the outside, trying to stuff the takedowns. And that's how he won his last fight, by stuffing the takedowns and point fighting. I don't think Hamdi's going to give him that opportunity. This guy's an Olympic wrestler. I think he wrestled for Iran, out of Egypt, something, a little weird mixture of those two kind of countries. But he is a Gracie guy doing his camps out there, so he's probably got an ever-evolving ground game if he gets the fight down there. I could see Hamdi winning this fight on the cards. And I did send out a bet on Hamdi a couple weeks ago at plus 130. Now Hamdi's sitting at minus 110 as a pick'em. Got 40 points of value. Can't complain about it there. Give me Hamdi by decision. Bogdangrad taking on Lucas Alexander. Bogdangrad's a guy that I'm not exactly too high on. I don't really think he won his Contender Series fight. And then something about his mentality. He was saying if he didn't win that Contender Series fight, he might not ever fight again. I just think that's a pretty weak mentality. I think if your dream is to be in the UFC, if that's your true dream, your true destiny, you should be doing whatever it takes. It shouldn't matter if you fail 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. You should be going back to the well and starting again and just kind of doing whatever the hell it takes. To say that he was going to give up on fighting as a whole if he didn't get in the UFC is just kind of a weak mentality in my opinion. Lucas Alexander, he is a guy that's been a little bit flaky. This guy's on, this guy's off. You never really know. He makes poor in-fight decisions that end up costing him. Against Jekka Sergi, I don't know why the hell we're not going to the ground. We cashed in huge on Weston Wilson round 1 sub. It was like plus 950. Because that's how you beat Jekka Sergi. You take him to the ground in the first round and you choke him out. I mean, everyone knows that. That's literally how you beat Jekka Sergi. Lucas Alexander wanted to strike. He wanted to get wild. He got his head taken off. I do think Lucas Alexander has some pop, though. I think this fight's going to be competitive. It's going to be back and forth. Bogdangrad's kind of a split decision machine. This guy always fights close. My official bet's going to be this fight to go to decision. I don't have the odds on that. We don't even have the over 2.5 yet. But give me the over 2.5 for sure. I'm leaning Lucas Alexander, but I could definitely see a world where Bogdan sneaks out another split decision. So just give me Bogdan by split decision. Not too happy with that. You're not going to see a Bogdan bet for me. But I do think he can squeak this one out. Jasmine Jasudavicius comes in taking on the return to 125 Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra Bueno Silva, when she was at 125, she had a very impressive win over Jillian Robertson, submitted her with ease. Now that's a very good win. I mean, Jillian Robertson is not an easy person to submit. And then Mayra Bueno Silva went on to have a couple underwhelming performances, a draw against Montana De La Rosa, a beatdown from Manon Farrow, a 30-27 beatdown. And then she went up to bantamweight. She saw an easier path. She saw a shot at the title. She took it. She got to the title and then ultimately laid an egg against Raquel Pennington. She won the first round and then lost all the next 4. And then against Macy Chiasson in her next fight, she won the first round again, but she got a big cut and the cut opened up and then we had to stop the fight, one of the worst cuts we've ever seen. That scar tissue is still going to be there, and I think Jasmine can take advantage of that. Jasmine Jasudavicius is a tough girl to beat. The only way you really beat her is by slick boxing. Against Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez came in with a boxing-heavy game plan. She stuffed the takedowns. Jasmine was not ready for that. I think Jasmine was ready for a wrestling match. Instead, she got a boxing beatdown. Then against Natalia Silva, I mean, can you fault anyone for losing to Natalia Silva? This girl has some of the best takedown defense we've ever seen in the women's divisions. And on top of that, her striking is insane. I think Mayra Bueno Silva is going to win the first round. If you have Bet Online, you can do a bet about scorecard winners. You can bet on Mayra Bueno Silva to win the first round on the scorecards. Whether she wins or loses the fight, it does not matter. I think she's going to win the first round, and I think Jasmine is going to come back. So alternatively, you can do a Jasmine Jasudavicius live bet, because I think Jasmine's going to be live for a finish later in this fight. I think if she gets on top, lands a couple elbows, the blood's going to be flowing, the ref's going to be looking to stop the fight, and I think that scar tissue is going to rip right open. And I just think at the end of the day, it's going to be Jasmine by like a round 3 TKO, by a round 3 rear naked choke. Something like that. Obviously, it's a women's fight. The fight could obviously go to decision, so I'm not going to rule that out, but give me Jasmine in a round 3. Faraz Ziam taking on Mike Davis. Mike Davis, he's going to be coming forward. He's going to be looking for the wrestling slams. The only issue is, this guy, we haven't seen him. This guy doesn't fight. He's never healthy. This guy's always injured, dealing with some kind of injury. Recently, I believe it was a bicep injury, a bicep tear or something like that. He's going to be coming forward trying to take Faraz Ziam down, because that's how you beat Faraz Ziam. You have to take him down. Now, Faraz showed incredible grappling defense, that guillotine defense in his last fight against Matt Frivola, but Matt Frivola's really not that good, so it's hard to say. I think Faraz Ziam has the potential to slow down a guy like Mike Davis. Faraz has a good ability to slow the fight down to his pace, to fight how he wants to fight, and I think he can do that. That's why I sent out a bet. Again, in the Discord, I sent out Faraz Ziam 2 weeks ago. I was looking at this fight. 2 weeks ago, I was picking Faraz Ziam by decision, and I sent out a bet at plus 220. Since then, the odds have closed. Faraz Ziam is sitting at like plus 125 right now. We almost got 100 points of value. Mike Davis, I do understand his path to victory, and I can totally see it. I might hedge myself out with a Mike Davis by decision bet, but I'm not 100% sure yet. For a pick right now, give me Faraz Ziam by decision. Terrence McKinney taking on Damir Hadzovic. This is Terrence McKinney, 5-4 in the UFC, taking on Damir Hadzovic, who is 4-5 in the UFC. Now, Damir he has some bad losses, I'm not going to lie. This guy always gets dominated in the grappling, in the wrestling. Terrence McKinney, this guy might be the most skilled fighter to never be ranked. I mean, I really do mean that. This guy, he's never going to touch the rankings. He has no chin. He has no cardio. If fights were 2 minutes long, this guy would be a champion. Now, Terrence McKinney, I think he's just going to come forward. He's going to blast double Damir, maybe throw a knee. He's going to tie up in the clinch, throw a knee, shoot a double, something like that. And he's going to choke out Damir in the first round. Damir, if you guys remember when he fought Renato Moicano, this guy, Renato, was mad at him after the fight. He stood up. He said, dude, I just wanted to fight more. And then Damir said, well, then why'd you sub me? That's kind of what made this guy famous, if you want to call it famous. But yeah, I mean, just give me Terrence McKinney by round 1 submission. I think I bet on Terrence McKinney to win in round 1 every single fight he's ever had in the UFC. Usually around plus 200-ish, given like even odds, you know. So I think it's going to pay off again. I mean, 5-4 in the UFC, do the math at plus 200, I think we're up on the guy. Then we have Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi taking on Balaji Oki. Now this is a change of opponents, and that's very important to note, because going from Jordan Levitt to Balaji Oki is a big step. Jordan Levitt's a guy I was going to pick Abdul Karim to just murder Jordan Levitt, similarly to how Jordan Levitt probably thought the Saudis were going to do him after the fights. Now Balaji Oki, this is a guy who's ever evolving. He's kind of growing as a fighter. We're seeing this guy evolve in front of our eyes. Against Chris Duncan last time out, he showed a great game plan, but he ultimately fell short due to a simple mistake in the grappling, got caught in a submission. It is what it is. I think he has the power to hit Abdul Karim, because Abdul, when he gets hit, he's always kind of on wobbly legs. Against Loic Radzivov, he didn't get up. He got hit, he went down, he stayed down. I think Balaji Oki can do a similar thing, but I think he's going to be a little bit slow starting. Give me Balaji Oki by round 3 TKO. Then we have Shamil the Real Meal Deal Gaziev taking on Thomas Peterson. How could you not be excited for this fight? We have Shamil Gaziev, the Russian, the Dagestani volleyball player, taking on Thomas Peterson, the professional fat man. And I just think Shamil's going to kind of have his way. I think Shamil's going to get the takedowns. He's going to wrestle heavy, and I think Thomas Peterson's going to be no match. I'm fully aware this fight's probably going to be very boring, but I think Shamil's going to rack up the control time, rack up the damage on the ground. He's going to win a decision, 30-27. Shamil Gaziev showed last time out, even I think he broke his hand or something in the first round, and he still just controlled Don'Tale Mayes for the entire fight, and that fight wasn't really competitive at all. So yeah, give me Shamil by decision. When the props drop for this, like the SIG strikes and stuff, take the under on both of their strikes. I don't think Shamil's going to strike at all. Muhammad Naimov's the guy that's kind of got a weird UFC run going. Con Olfi, obviously the ultimate fighter. I think he was in the finale against Myron Santos. He obviously got knocked out in the second round there. But Muhammad Naimov here, I mean, his first fight, Jamie Malarkey, short notice, up a weight class. He's getting dominated, and then he just catches him. Jamie Malarkey has no chin, we know this. Against Nathaniel Wood, I mean, he was cheating, he was kicking the cup, grabbing the fence. A lot of people didn't even think he won that fight, but he inevitably got the nod. And then against Eric Silva, he just has a one-off kind of fluke leg injury when he's throwing a spinning kick or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. And that fight ends in under a minute. And then against Con Olfi here, I mean, Khan's only path to victory is going to be trying to do what Felipe Lima just did to Muhammad Naimov. I don't know that he can. I was picking Khan against Myron Santos. I really, really thought he had a good chance to get the fight to the ground, to kind of work his ground game, work his submissions. But ultimately he got knocked out. I think this fight could go similarly. I think Naimov's got pop on the feet. I think Naimov's going to stuff the takedowns. I don't think he's going to get his back taken. I think he's going to beat down Olfi for 3 full rounds. Give me Muhammad Naimov by decision. Then we have Ikram Aliskerov taking on Andre Muniz. I mean, this fight, it's really easy to predict. I mean, where is Andre Muniz going to win this fight? He's going to win this fight on the ground. Ikram Aliskerov has some elite grappling. I don't think he's going to let that happen. The reason people were picking this guy to beat Robert fucking Whitaker is because of the grappling. People thought that if you pressured Whitaker, you took him down, you could choke him out in the first round like Khamzat Chimaev just showed us. Ikram ultimately decided he just wasn't going to wrestle for some reason, and then we got the result that we did. I think he's taken enough time off. He's coming back here, home soil. I think this is a layup fight. He's going to smoke Andre Muniz. I think he's going to stuff the takedowns and knock him out on the feet in the very first round. Now we have Saidner Magomedov taking on Vinicius Oliveira. I'm seeing people calling Vinicius Oliveira the underdog lock of the century, and I just don't see the fight going that way. I implore you guys, keep betting Vinicius Oliveira. I want to get a better price on Said here. Yeah, I think Saidner Magomedov, he's one of the few Dagestani guys that actually is taking challenging fights on the way up. He's not given these gifted opportunities like being unranked, never fighting a ranked fighter, getting put in the number 10 slot, then getting a fight with Corey Sandhagen. I mean, Saidner Magomedov, he lost to Ronnie Barcelos. Peyton Talbot just showed us that's not necessarily a terrible loss to have. Cody Stamann, Douglas Silva de Andrade, Saidu Cobb, and he lost to Jonathan Martinez. This guy's fighting up-and-coming guys. Muin Gafarov, obviously that was an easy pick to make. Muin just actually looked really good against Rinya Nakamura. I don't know why the Olympic wrestler decided he didn't want to wrestle, but whatever, he lost me some bread. It is what it is. But Vinicius Oliveira here, I think a lot of people are just picking him because they think he's going to knock out Saidner Magomedov. They think this guy's a knockout machine. I just don't really agree with that. I don't think this guy's all that. Obviously, he caught Bernardo Sopai in like the last 30 seconds of their fight after losing that fight. And then I don't know, man. The Ricky Simone fight was weird. Ricky Simone had him on wobbly legs with the leg kicks. He was beating him on the feet. He couldn't get the takedowns, and then he just inevitably lost on points. This is a really close fight, and I'm glad that people are picking Vinicius Oliveira because it's bringing the odds down for me. I think this fight is much closer to a pick'em than the side minus 200 that we started with. Maybe a lot of people are just fading him now because Umar lost. They're going to fade the Nurmagomedovs, and I kind of like that. I want good odds on Said here. I think he can win this fight. He has those very slick front chokes. Very, very impressive stuff there. I think Vinicius puts himself in danger a little bit too often for my liking. And Said Nurmagomedov, that guillotine is money. He's gotten that in, 3 out of his last 4 fights? 3 out of his last 5? I'm going to pick Said Nurmagomedov by guillotine. It's a signature move. Not a lot of fighters have like a full-on signature move. But when you get something down like that, you just got to keep riding with it. Give me Said by sub. All right, this right here is a fight where you can't afford to get too cute. You can't think too much about it. Sergey Pavlovich, yes, he just lost to Tom Aspinall. Yes, he just lost to Volkov. Is Jairzinho Rozenstruik on the same level as those guys? I really, really don't think so. I'm not discrediting Biggie Boy. I think he's a very good fighter. I think he's a very fun fighter. We actually picked him by decision against Tai Tuivasa. Plus 800 odds. We sniped that one right there. Now, do I think that he could do something similar to Pavlovich? Maybe. But Tai Tuivasa's got T-Rex arms and the guy's just fat as hell. Sergey Pavlovich is actually kind of decent. Decent by heavyweight standards. This guy, he's in shape. He swings fast. He has good boxing combinations. And he has one-shot power. He has like 10 inches of reach on Tai Tuivasa. I think if Rozenstruik comes out here with the same game plan that he did against Tuivasa, he's inevitably going to get chinned. I'm not going to overthink it. Give me Sergey Pavlovich by knockout. Now this is a fight right here that I'm very excited for. We have Shara Magomedov taking on Michael Venom Page. And I'm just going to break the ice. I'm going MVP. I think MVP is huge. This guy filled out that 170 frame. He was like maxing out 170. I'm excited to see this guy at 185. I think he's going to be huge. I was seeing interviews. He said he wants to beat up Shara so bad that he shoots a takedown. He said he's expecting Shara to shoot a takedown, which is crazy if you know anything about Shara. But I think it's going to be 15 minutes of probably back and forth striking. Unless we get a little spicy, we call MVP by knockout perhaps. I don't know. I just think MVP's style is just so weird, so awkward. I don't think Shara, after his last fight, everyone thinks this guy just has that one-shot knockout power. Let's not forget what this guy was doing before that last fight there. I mean, let us not forget that he took Mikhail Olazichek to a decision. It took him 3 rounds to knock out the human punching bag Antonio Tricoli. They brought that guy overseas on short notice, like all the way across the world. He had nothing. He wasn't training. He wasn't doing shit. And Shara just beat him up for 3 rounds, barely got the knockout. I'm hard-pressed to believe that Shara is now this knockout artist after not being able to do anything in his first 3 UFC fights. I think MVP is a little bit chinny, but that's just because of his style. The way he taunts, the way he flaunts, the way he puts his face out there, he's going to get hit. And if he gets hit in those exposed positions, he could go down. I'm not denying that. But I do think MVP is just the more well-versed striker. I think this guy hits harder, he understands range better, and he has a way longer reach. In a striking fight like this, you can't deny a reach advantage like this, 79 to 73. That's a pretty big reach advantage, man. I think MVP knows how to use that. He frustrated Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland couldn't touch this guy. Kevin Holland couldn't lay a finger on him. And MVP was cracking him with some big shots. My official pick is MVP by decision, but I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on that MVP by knockout. I can definitely see that coming through for us as well. Time for the main event. Israel Adesanya taking on Nasruddin Imavov. This fight right here is very interesting. It's going to tell us a lot about the division. I see a lot of people saying we need to find out if Izzy's washed or not. I don't really think that's the case. I don't think Izzy's washed. He looked really good in the Dricus fight. Imavov is just a guy. He's kind of like an opportunistic grappler. I don't think Imavov is going to come out here and offensively wrestle in the first round. I think Imavov is going to be striking. That's important because I think if Imavov strikes, he's going to get his ass kicked. I think if Imavov decides to strike in this fight, he's en route to getting 50-45'd by Izzy. We have to remember who Israel Adesanya is. He is one of the most technical point fighters in the UFC. He's not a knockout artist, that's not a knock. He's very freaking good at getting the points on the scorecards. Very few people can get points as consistently as Izzy can. Nasruddin Imavov, he's getting held against the cage by Cannonier. Cannonier was looking to grapple against this guy. His striking's not terrible. However, I don't think he's going to come out there and wrestle. He's kind of like Magomed Ankalaev. Same reason I'm going to pick Pereira to beat Magomed Ankalaev is because Ankalaev doesn't offensively wrestle until he's already losing the fight. Ankalaev doesn't wrestle pretty much at all. I mean, he waited 3 rounds getting leg kicked before he started wrestling against Jan. I think Imavov is probably going to be down 3 rounds before he even starts trying to grapple. For that reason, I'm going Israel Adesanya by decision. I'm not going to bet on this fight for the reason being, if Imavov comes out and he wants to wrestle off the rip, he absolutely will win this fight. Izzy's weakness has been grappling. He got fortunate enough to not fight many grapplers during his reign. If Imavov wants to wrestle, if he wants the belt one day, he's going to grapple against Izzy, but I just can't trust him to do that because we have not seen that yet. For that reason, give me Israel Adesanya by decision. Now this video is a little bit quicker, a lot less yapping. I actually made it quicker for a change on you guys. I recorded the whole thing. I was yapping a lot more in the first video, and then I wasted an hour and a half of my time recording it for it just to have no audio. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully we got right to the point. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think my picks are good, you think my picks are bad. Whatever it is, tell me who you got. Let me know in the comments who your lock of the night is. And yeah, hope to see you guys in the Discord. We'll be cashing out, man. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.